Rabbi say, let's do this. Am I Fleishigs? Do I have to wait? How long do I have to wait? All the questions that I get asked often, people get asked often. Maybe I didn't know the answers so clearly. Now I know them a little bit better. Baruch Hashem, these are common questions that happen all the time. Your kids asked you this question before. You asked yourself these questions before. Let's get it. Let's get involved. Okay, so let's get started. So the Torah says, "Lo tevashel gdi b'chelav imay," that it says 3 times you cannot cook a goat in its mother's milk. And we learn from there 3 isurim of basar v'chalav, mixing milk and meat. One isur is you are not allowed to cook together milk and meat. So even if you are not eating it, you want to work at a restaurant, you want to make for your goyish cleaning lady some basar v'chalav, let's say some disposable kli, you want to do it? No, you can't, because there's the actual isur in just the cooking of basar v'chalav. Not only is there isur in the cooking, there's, as we obviously know, there's the isur of eating. You're not allowed to eat basar v'chalav, milk and meat that was cooked together. And then there's an additional isur, that there's an isur hana. Not only is it usher to eat, but you're not allowed to get benefit from it. So if you have basar v'chalav, you can't say, oh shoot, I have basar v'chalav, I'll just sell it. No, sorry Charlie, you can't sell it, it's usher b'hana. Not for now, just to throw it out there. When it comes to from a non-kosher animal or a nevela, those are all shaylas, whether they're considered basar v'chalav. But to have the isser of bishul and have the isser of hana, that is only true if it is cooked together. If you just go and you mix together meat and milk, you will not get that isser. It will only be an isser d'Rabbanan to meat and milk that's cooked together. So if you have, a chicken and cheese salad, for example, that will only be aser midrabanan. That would not be aser midraisa.
Even a meat and cheese salad.
Even a meat and cheese. I wasn't focusing correct. Chicken is also derabanan, as Bensi was implying. Chicken is derabanan. Really, the rice is only on meat. And if you have a meat and cheese salad, I don't know if that's a thing. If it is a thing, it probably is a thing somewhere. So if that is a thing, bacon's, forget it, I don't want to get bacon. That's a different point. Good old cow meat and cheese salad, if that's a thing. So that would still be d'Rabbanan because they are not cooked together. Fine. Now, not midrabanan, not only we makbid.
Such a thing you could sell?
Yes, you would be allowed to sell it. Yes, you could sell. You are allowed to sell a meat and cheese business tipyomi. You're allowed to sell a meat, and as long as it's not going to end up in a Jew's hand, and there's no reason to assume that it's going to end up in a Jew's hands, you are allowed to sell the meat and cheese sandwich, put on a big label only for goyim, and and you'll be allowed to do that. Okay. Now, not only is it usher to eat the meat and the milk together, but actually from when you eat meat, you have to wait before eating milk. So when you eat the Fleishigs, you have to wait to eat the milchiks. Where do we see this from? So there's a Gemara in Chulin, Kuf Hem and Aleph, where Reb Chizda says, Eichel basar, asur l'eichel gvina. If you eat meat, then it is asur to eat milk. And Reb Chizda does not give a timeline. Comes the Gemara next line and says, Mar Ukva says, I am like vinegar compared to my father. My father, he was a chashuv guy. My father, he would wait 24 hours from when he ate meat to when he would eat milk. From Fleishigs to milchiks, 24 hours. Whereas me, I'm like vinegar. I just wait. I don't eat this Suda. The Suda that I'm eating meat. I don't eat this Suda milk. I wait to the next Suda to have milk. Okay, so what is the reason to wait? Once again, it wasn't a clear amount of time that Marukva said, but he doesn't eat milk in this Suda that he ate meat. In the next Suda, he will eat milk. What exactly that means, we're going to discuss soon. Now, what is the reason to wait? Why should you wait? Because once again, we said Midrasa, there's really no issue. So what's behind, what's the issue? Is it just an extra level of Gezerah, or is there something that we're actually choshesh for? So let's look at the Rishonim. There's a famous machlokes over here between the Rambam and Rashi. Happens to be some other Rishonim who on the teams, but there's known as a Machlekes Rambam and Rashi. The Rambam says that the issue is the meat could get stuck between your teeth. Meat is the type of food, it's hard, and it's the type of food that's common, especially, in the pre-floss, pre-braces era, I'm sure, But then, it might have been pre-candy. Sorry, I can't exactly. Never really thought about this too hard until now. But in the meat gets stuck between your teeth. It still happens now. So what's the chashash? What's going to happen? So you're going to have some meat stuck in between your teeth. And then, let's say, 20 minutes later, you want to have some milk. And now you go and you eat your cheese, let's say. Now you're going to have in your mouth, you're going to be eating meat and cheese, which is awesome midarabanan to eat meat and cheese together. We're choshish that's going to happen. And therefore, after meat, you have to wait to eat milk because you don't want to end up having meat and milk together. The meat in your teeth that will come out and the cheese that's, you just ate.
So according to that, between one Suda and another.
So the question we're going to get to it soon. What happens to this chashash? I guess once you're asking, we'll say it now. The question is, so that could happen by the next Suda as well. It seems to be that at the next Suda, as at least the way that people explain the Rambam, is by the next Suda, which the Rambam actually says, or we're working with the Rambam, he says that is K'moi Sheishos. It's like 6 hours later. At that point, the meat is so dissolved, and I guess your saliva has gotten to it so much that it no longer has its potent status of meat, and halachically it's not considered meat anymore, and therefore there'd be no issue of eating that with cheese, which is a chiddush, to say that...
It's even if you have, you could feel a piece of meat stuck in there, or just you don't feel anything, but,
So it's an interesting question. So I'm gonna take that question and put it on the side, because we're going to get back to it. Okay, so now, that is the Shittas Rambam. The Shittas Rashi is that the reason why you have to wait from the meat to the milk is because meat is generally fatty. And the fats of the meat, the taste lingers in the mouth. The taste of the fat lingers in the mouth. Some people say, this digestion thing, it takes 6 hours to digest. That's not actually one of the main shittas of the Rishonim. There might be a Chassam Sofer that implies that. But of the main shittas in the Rishonim, it is about either Rambam, meat getting stuck in your teeth, or Rashi, that the taste lingers in your mouth. Because since it is fatty tastes linger in your mouth. So who cares if it lingers in your mouth? Well, simple. If you have meat taste in your mouth, and we hold that taste is something chashuv, and now you go and you have your cheese Danish with your meat taste, you eat it together, you have basar v'cholav coming into your mouth. Once again, it still won't be a deraisa, it won't be the rabbanon, but you're going to have that coming into your mouth, and you're going to eat that together. That would be a problem. Now, are there nafkaminas between the shitas of the Rambam and the shita of Rashi? Sure, there's plenty of nafkaminas. So one is, let's say you would swallow meat without chewing it. So according to the Rambam, if you didn't chew it, you wouldn't have to wait. Lefi Rashi, well, you swallowed it, the taste is going to be in your mouth, and therefore you would have to wait. Or the other way around, let's say you chewed up meat for a baby. That apparently seems like it used to be a common example. You would chew up meat and not swallow it and give it to the baby. Now, lefi the Rambam, you chew up meat. You have to be choshish. You can't have milk. Lefi Rashi, listen, since you didn't eat it, apparently the taste is not going to linger in your mouth, which, once again, there's maybe what to debate on that, but apparently the taste isn't going to linger in your mouth. It seems to be we're only choshish in the back of your mouth. And therefore, lefi Rashi, you would be able to have milk. Fine. So therefore, those are seemingly the nafkaminas. L'maisa, how do we pass it? Well, sure, I'm sure we pick a tzad, right? Are we going to pass it like Rambam, or are we going to pass it like Rashi? Zak the Torah and the Ramah, they both say in Yardea, Simon Peites Sif Gimel, that they both explain that we're machmer for both shitas. So if you would do any of those nafkaminas, and there's other nafkaminas that I didn't list, the Maisa were machmer both ways, you have to wait both ways. So even if somebody doesn't chew the meat, or let's say somebody chews and he doesn't swallow, either way he has to wait the required amount of time.
Is there one that's like a main and the other one we're just machmer?
Now it seems that we equally we take on both seemingly equally in the Torah and in the Ramah. It may be the Mechaber, we'll see, might have the Rambam as the Iker. But in the Torah and the Ramah, it's going to be, we are machmer for them both equally. Now, what if, let's just call it 6 hours for now. That's what we're definitely used to. So let's work with that for that term, just to keep it easy. What happens if after 4 hours, your little piece of meat pops out of your teeth and you swallow it? Does that restart the clock? And now you have to wait another, it's going to be 10 hours total? Or no. We don't restart the clock. It's just another 2 more hours that you need. So the Haflah says the minhag is that people are not makbid on this, and we don't restart the clock. However, it's not so clear why not. Because if in Shitas Rashi that you're worried about the taste, we should be worried about the taste of the meat. The Bnei HaShulchan says if the meat pops out of your teeth, make sure not to swallow it. Because he's not very comfortable with this whole story. And the Bnei HaShulchan says make sure not to swallow it, spit it out. It doesn't seem clear that the Bnei HaShulchan is very quick to be matter over here. Because once again, if you learn the simple sugya, Lefishigas Rashi, it's a problem. And therefore you should have to wait. So Lamaisa, what is the pshat in us not waiting? Because it seems to be that is what's seemingly accepted, that we don't restart the clock when swallowing this little piece. Why not? So the Shut Chaya Halevi quotes Rav Vosner as being matter, he uses a chiddush of Rav Moshe. So Rav Vosner quotes Rav Moshe and borrows his chiddush and expands it. Rav Moshe discusses swallowing a liver pill. I don't know, maybe for iron people took it, I'm not really sure. There's some type of liver pill. And he says, if you swallow that pill, you're not Fleishigs. You're not Fleishigs. It's liver, meat, animal. That moo, you should be Fleishigs, yeah? What's going on here? Zatar Moshe, you're not Fleishigs. Why are you not Fleishigs? Because it's not derech achila. And since swallowing a pill is not derech achila, Chazal aren't geyser on the swallowing of the pill, and therefore you don't have to wait. You don't have to wait the 6 hours. Zakt Rav Vosner, you know what? When a little piece of meat pops out from between your teeth and you swallow it, that's also not derech achila. And therefore that's pshat, and why you don't have to wait again. Zakt Rav Vosner, shkaich Rav Moshe. Okay, tag team, we got it.
You re-chew it. It's a problem?
If we, one more time?
Re-chew it.
So if you re-chew that meat, now I'm already getting upset. Then already you're eating it derech achila, then the Rav Vosner wouldn't be happy. You're also bringing in the Rambam to not be happy. So then already you have to wait. If you're going to reach through that little piece, then you're done. Okay. Rev Belsky, he also has a pshat here. He says that since the little piece is the type of thing that gets stuck between your teeth, unless you got some serious dental issues, it's going to be a little teeny piece, right? And it's a little teeny piece. It's tasteless, let's face it. A little teeny piece that's been sitting in your mouth for I don't know how long. It's teeny, it's tasteless. None of the reasonings apply. Because, once again, we're not cautious that this little piece got stuck again and there's no reason to start to count again or whatever. And taste, it doesn't have taste. So Mamela, the clock does not restart. Fine. So Lamaisa were makel, but it's not absolutely clear why. So Lamaisa, general, waiting 6 hours. How big of a piece do you need already to wait 6 hours? A little teensy piece? Big piece? What are we talking about? A kazayas? A kibetza? Chazanish? How big do you need? The type of amount that you eat on, Pesach Seder, Chazanish, kibetza, shibakate, times 6, How much do you need already to make you Fleishigs? So you open up the Gemara, doesn't say. Open up the Shulchan Aruch, Tainis Dibur. Rambam, no. Nobody has anything to say. Nobody says a share. So if nobody says a share, so the pashtus is anything. Any amount should be enough. And I'll prove it to you further. When it came to the little piece in the meat, nobody said, oh, you know why you don't restart the clock? Because it's just small. We're just coming with all our svaras, it's not derech achila, and it's tasteless and whatever. So obviously, everybody held from a little teensy piece, that's enough to make you wait 6 hours. So the chayra, there is no share. Now what about tasting? Now what is tasting? No. When you guys say at those like fancy Pesach programs, toamah, that's not tasting. Smorgasbord with carving stations and the big sign toamah for sure. No, that is not toamah. That is fresamah. When I say toamah, I mean when I'm talking about tasting, what is tasting? So let's start off discussing tasting without swallowing. You put a little something on your tongue to see how does the gravy taste, how does the chicken soup taste. You want to just taste it. Does that make you Fleishigs? Very normal. A lady, she's cooking in the kitchen, she's making for Shabbos the food, but tonight, Thursday night, they're having pizza. Is she Fleishigs from tasting the food? So the Pri Megadim seems to be machmer that anything, it's a loy plug, anything that comes, meat goes in your mouth, you're Fleishigs. Even if you spit it out, that's the Pri Megadim. However, the Aruch HaShulchan, the Pri Chadash, the Darchei Tshuva, and the Kaf HaChaim all say that no, you spit it out, you don't need to wait. And Yaakov Kamenetsky goes with this, and he says, once again, if you don't swallow, you do not have to wait. You just tasted it, you don't have to wait. However, Yaakov Kamenetsky adds in a little bit, before eating milchiks, you have to do kinuach. So you have to do kinuach to get rid of whatever might be in your mouth. But besides that, you don't have to wait, and that seems to be, that is the accepted halacha, that if you just went and you tasted without swallowing, you do not need to wait. Chashuv guest. Okay, now, what if you do swallow? If you do swallow, you're tasting, how does the chicken soup taste? You want to know how the chicken soup tastes, but there's pizza tonight. So you're going to taste it, and you swallow. Do you still have the heter of not becoming Fleishigs? So you know what I call it when you taste something and you swallow it? The proper term for that is what we call eating. You ate that food. You might have eaten a little bit of the food, but you ate the food. So therefore, if you ate the food, and we said there's no shear in the size that you need to eat. Even if you eat a little bit of food, a little bit of meat, you have to wait 6 hours. You ate a little bit of meat, 6 hours. Huh?
It's not meat, it's chicken.
Or chicken. We aren't machalik on this. You ate chicken, you ate meat, 6 hours. Or whatever you hold, that will, hopefully we'll get there. Okay, so
There's no hack from there's Rishonim and Brachos that speak about a tinus, like Tayim HaBervis. Some say it means spitting out, but some say it means swallowing.
Right, so
that doesn't apply to this.
over here, this is seems to be the accepted opinion that we that seems to be the accepted opinion is that this is a problem when you swallow. Now, I think the Metzias is even when you're tasting on your tongue, without spitting out, just take it a little bit on your tongue. You're not actively swallowing. Something's going to end up down your throat. That's okay. It's not that if anything, it seems to be that if something happens to find its way down your throat, well, that seems to be okay. But you're not actively swallowing. As long as you're not actively swallowing, then that would l'chara be okay.
So it's the decision of spitting it out.
Once again, I'm just saying, if you're taking an amount that's a large amount in your mouth, you have to spit it out. If you're taking a teensy bit that's going to just touch your tongue, you don't necessarily need to spit that out, l'chayr. Okay, now what about if you're Fleishigs and you want to taste the milchiks? I was just discussing if you're milchiks, if you eat the little taste of Fleishigs doesn't make you Fleishigs. What if you are Fleishigs? You're in your 6-hour term of being Fleishigs, you're 2 hours in, or whatever it is, and you want to taste the milchiks. Is the milchiks good? So, are you allowed to do it? So this is actually a little bit more complicated, because it's not just about the tamim that they apply. You right now have a gezeir in halei milchiks. This is milchiks. The Meiser Chaim Kanievsky is machmir, and says you're not allowed to taste the milchiks. Rav Elyashiv is meiko, and Rav Elyashiv says you are allowed to eat the milchiks. What did Rebbetzin Kanievsky do? I don't know. Probably held like her husband.
Because the same way that in the other way around it's not called an achila.
What's the reason why Rav Elyashiv should be mater? Yeah, it's not an achila. It's not an achila.
It's not in the gezeir, you're not eating it together.
Correct, but it's a little bit harder to say this. Okay. It's a little bit harder because it's not the other way that you have helping you. The tamim don't really apply when you just have a little teensy bit, so you have that helping you. But when it comes to eating the milchiks, I don't care about tamim. There's a gezeir, you can't eat milchiks, so that's why it's a little bit harder. But once again, it boils down to the basic shayla: is it achila or is it not achila? That's what the unifying factor of the shayla both ways. But I'm explaining why this is a little bit harder. Okay, well, it's not so important. Fine. Now, what if an onion was cut with a Fleishig knife? Everybody's scared. That's, by the way, when you get to the Basar Chalav shaylas, I'll tell you a little secret. If there's no davar charif, 90% of the shaylas that come your way, it's good, it's mutter, it's allowed. That's what my experience is. 90% of the shaylas that come my way, if there's no davar charif, it's fine, it's beseder, you can find the kula. However, when there's a davar charif, usually, not always, I would say usually, the answer is it's a problem. I don't know if other people agree with me. Something spicy like onion, base mayor aside for those, I'm even Yavin. But that's something that people find pretty interesting. I don't know how other people see, but in my experiences, that's how I see it. So onions, they always wreak havoc when it comes to the kasher shaylas. Fine. So I have onion was cut by a Fleishig knife. Are you Fleishigs? Am I Fleishigs? That famous question you always ask yourself. Am I Fleishigs? So, because L'maisa, let's think about the reasons. Is it meat? Are you going to get meat stuck? You eat that onion, right? Are you getting meat stuck between your teeth? No. The onion is not meat. And the tam, what type of tam? It's tam that went through a knife to the onion, to your food, That type of tam, which had to travel through a knife, is not the type of tam that's going to linger in your mouth. And therefore, you are not Fleishigs, and you don't have to wait 6 hours. If you eat the onion, you do not have to wait 6 hours. That is not the type of taste that's going to linger in your mouth, and there's no meat to get stuck in your mouth. So, Mamela, you don't have to wait 6 hours from eating that onion. Yeah? No, but even if the onion gets stuck in your teeth, it's not. The tam's going to disappear.
The other thing it's not bad. How does spice, which was spicy?
Huh?
What spices? Do spices also make it?
Could the spices be davar charif? It's possible, sure.
No, if it's spicy and you stick the knife in it, would it make it Fleishig?
You will get to, go afterwards. We'll ask the shaylas. I just want to try to get through. I'm not really following what shayla you're asking. You just stick it in the onion or stick it in meat?
It's a regular spice.
In spice?
It's a spice. And cut it in.
I'm saying it has to cut through something. If you just stick it into the spice, it's not going to do much. It has to cut through something. It has to be what they call dukta de sakina. You need some pressure. Okay. Now, when you're Fleishigs, can you eat an onion that was cut with a milk knife? So you're Fleishigs, there's a salad. The salad was cut up with you have onion in the salad. For some people like that. Yeah, so they have a purple onion. It makes the salad look good, right? So they cut a purple onion into the salad, and you're Fleishigs. Could you eat that salad? What do you guys think? Good shayla. So the Pri Megadim says, no, you are not allowed to eat this. You can't eat that salad. That it's milchik onion. You're Fleishigs. You're Fleishigs, you can't eat milchik onion. That's what the Pri Megadim says. The Yad Yehuda says, if the knife was a ben yoima, then you cannot. If the knife was used for milk within the last 24 hours, it's a ben yoima, then you cannot eat the onion. But if the knife was not a ben yoima, then you could eat the onion, which is strange because usually by davar charif we don't focus on ben yoima. Tzarchin. The Darkei Tshuva says, because if Eat the Darkei Shiva says gesundte hate. Eat that onion. Okay. The Bade Shulchan says don't eat the onion, even if it's not Eina ben Yoima. He doesn't believe that the Ad Yehuda has the right pshat in the Pri Megadim. Rav Aaron Cutler says yes, you could eat the onion. So we're not getting such clear whatever. Oh, I forgot the big makel in the sugya. Rav Yashiv says once again a kula from Rav Yashiv. Rav Yashiv says for his second kula of the day, yes, Rav Yashiv's makel, and he says you could eat that onion.
Can you just go into the little background between the difference between the two cases?
Yeah.
The onion cut with the Fleishig knife was clear.
So the reason why by the onion that was cut with the Fleishig knife were for sure makel is because none of the tamim apply. And if none of the reasons behind the gezerah apply, it's not going to have meat stuck between your teeth. The taste is not going to linger. You're for sure not Fleishigs. However, when there's the gezerah that you can't eat milchiks, so this onion is milchiks, so you can't eat it. What's Pshat in Rav Yashiv and friends and in the Ad Yehuda, etc., that is going to allow you to, in Darkei Tshuva, that is going to allow you to eat this onion? Because it's not real milchiks. It's milchiks enough that it can't be mixed with fleishiks, but it's not real milchiks that you can't eat during the 6 hours. Which is a chiddush. In a way, the Pri Megadim is more pashut. In a way. Because the Darkei Tshuva and Rav Yashiv, they're splitting hairs. In a way. But Lamaisa, they're makel, and I am unclear about what the consensus is. I would say for sure, if the knife was a Eina ben Yoima, and we also have the Ad Yehuda, claiming that the Pri Megadim would be makel, then I think we could be makel. Although it's a little surprising that we're being mechalik, we're differentiating between a ben Yoima and an Eina ben Yoima when it comes to davar charif. If you know what I'm talking about, gevaldik. If you don't, it's okay, don't worry. It's all good. Okay, great. Now, next question. Somebody ate a potato from the chalt. Do you have to wait 6 hours? That potato, I didn't eat meat, only potato. Why?
It's in the crock pot?
In the crock pot. Or you took it from your Israeli cousins in the regular pot on the blue. Yeah, or from Benzie's house. Huh? Takes in the flavor. Very good. So the fee, let me just explain what Shimon's trying to say. What Shimon's trying to say is, the fee, the Rambam, that's choishish about meat getting stuck between your teeth. You don't have anything to worry about, because it's a potato, it's not meat. But, Zak Shimon, the fee does Rashi, that we're worried about the taste lingering in the back of your mouth. So this potato has the oils of the meat, is infused in the potatoes, and that oil from the meat, which is infused in the potatoes, could cause the taste, the fatty taste, to linger in the back of your throat, and therefore you have to wait 6 hours. Right? Fine. So, let's open up the Shulchan Aruch. That's how we learn the sugya, right? The Mechaber, no. Tavshel Shabasar, you did not have to wait 6 hours. Comes along the Kaf HaChaim, the Ben Ish Chai, Rebbe Vadia. They all say, no, Sfarad, we're machmer on this. I know the Mechaber says whatever. Don't worry about the Mechaber. We take the Bezdin Gadol Asfarim of the Kaf HaChaim, the Ben Ish Chai, and Rebbe Vadia. They all say that you have to wait 6 hours. And they agree on something. Pretty good. Gewaldig. Okay. So the Ramah says, yeah, the Rashi, that you're gonna have to wait. You're gonna have to wait 6 hours for that chal. That's in Shulchan Aruch Yardea Peitas.
What about the X which you put in the chal?
So yeah, I think that gets the taste. No.
Yeah, but it has a cover.
I think they become brown for a reason. I think the taste goes through them. I don't think they taste like regular eggs. If you're doing something where the taste, you're just warming it up in a challah pot, then it's fine. If it's just getting warmed up in a challah pot, I don't know the mitzias, but if you're telling me the mitzias is that no taste gets in, then no taste gets in, and it's fine. It's going to be, there may be cases which the mitzias are going to be hard to figure out, but everything's dependent. If the taste gets in, it's a problem. Okay, now, fine. So once again, the Ramah says you wait 6 hours. Okay, Now, and the Ramah says, by the way, don't try to change this. Don't try to be Pirate Getter and say, I just ate a potato. Don't even think about it. 6 hours. Well, he doesn't say 6 hours. He says you have to wait. We'll discuss about them at the time soon.
All these things with the milchigan and with the potatoes with the flavor, there's hetam for chaylim or?
Oh, so we're going to see, there's maybe a hetam for Ashkenazi chaylim, not for Sephardi chaylim. Fine. Fine. Now, fine. The Ramah continues. The Ramah continues with a very strange line. You'll see why it's strange in a minute. So the Ramah continues and says that if, however, after eating food cooked in a Fleishig pot, you don't have to wait 6 hours. So if you have food, you had a Fleishig pot, you cooked food in it, seemingly you cooked noodles in it, I don't know. There you don't have to wait 6 hours. Okay, that's easy enough. Obviously, none of the time I'm apply, right? There's no meat to get stuck between your teeth. How much taste already is going to be there? It's not going to linger in your throat. Even a ben yaimeh, how much taste is going to be there? Right? Fleishigs equipment. So you obviously don't have to wait 6 hours. Famous shach.
Like milchig equipment, you have to do kiluach after?
Right? No. So we have a famous shach. The shach asked the question on the Ramah. And he says, Ramah, chiddush? Huh? What's the chiddush? That says obvious. Everybody knows. I mean, Shimon for sure knows. The Shulchan Aruch Yordei Tzadihei, right? Where it says that by not bar not, that let's say you cooked noodles in a Fleishig pot, and then cheese got mixed with it. You could eat it together. You're allowed to eat it together. So if you're allowed to eat these noodles with cheese when they got mixed up, then obviously you don't have to wait 6 hours after eating the noodles to eat cheese. Right? So what's the chiddush of the Ramah that when you don't have to wait 6 hours. You can eat it together if they get mixed up. Right? The Sfarim would even let you mix them up l'chatchila. Right? So what's going on here? So the Shach says, you know what Pshat in the Ramah is? Pshat in the Ramah is, let's say you have a Fleishig pot. You know, you used it for Fleishigs. You empty it out. You don't really rinse it out well. It has all this Fleishig residue on it. You don't rinse it out well. You clear it out, but not well. And then you go and you make noodles in it. And you eat those noodles. Then you don't have to wait 6 hours from those noodles, even though it still had residue of meat in it. Now, why? Remember we said before that even a little teensy piece of meat, you have to wait 6 hours. So if a little piece of meat, you have to wait 6 hours, why over here do you not have to wait 6 hours when there's pieces of meat? He says there's mamashas of meat in the pot, you don't have to wait 6 hours. And how much meat exactly is in this pot? Now, if we're talking about meat that's less than a 60th the size of the noodles in our example, so that's going to be batal b'shishim l'chayra. And if it's batal b'shishim, halachically it doesn't exist. And once again, there's no chiddush that you don't have to wait 6 hours because it's considered halachically that there's no meat there. So it's not the only way of explaining it, but the way that most explain the shach is saying in Pshat and Ramah, there's enough residue in that pot that it's not batal b'shishim. So there's real mamashis of meat in there. Once again, you rinsed it out, but not well. You don't have to wait 6 hours. And it seems that the Shach, besides explaining the Ramah like this, it seems like the Shach goes with us and follows us halacha. However, once again, the big question is, why? Why would you not have to wait 6 hours? We said you eat a little teensy piece of meat, no shiur. Right? You have to wait 6 hours. Over here, you're having more than meat than that, l'chayra. Why don't you have to wait 6 hours? So there's two main pshatim on explaining this shach. One is the Pisrei Tshuva brings the base Lechem Yehuda, who explains that this residue apparently won't have tam. to it, right? It's a little residue. It's not going to have time to it. It's not going to have taste. It's not going to have flavor anymore. And since it's not going to have flavor, we're not going to make you wait for it. And once again, I don't think there's massive pieces of meat because it sounds like there's like little pieces, little residue.
Just saying, like, you don't even have to wash it out, really.
Yeah, it seems like you're not really washing it out. Just you empty it out, and you shake it out. I don't know exactly, and there's no big pieces left, and there's not much time, and therefore that's why you don't have to wait 6 hours. The one thing that's a little bit hard to understand is if we're talking about the amount of meat that isn't batal b'shishim, we generally assume when meat's not batal b'shishim, it will give over time. But I guess over here, since it's not major pieces, it's just leftover residue, there's less flavor in there. So it doesn't get batal b'shishim mitam halacha bittul shishim, but there's not so much meat, there's not a lot of taste left in it, and therefore you don't have to wait the 6 hours.
Again,
So it's split.
If you were to eat that residue on its own, you would be Fleishigs.
Correct.
But once you mix it with a power food,
Correct.
What about mixing with the milk?
So once again, could you mix it with the milk food? No, that you wouldn't be allowed to. L'chayra, because you have a mashus of meat with milk. That's a problem. But eating it will not make you Fleishigs. Okay, that is the base lechem Yehuda. The Yad Yehuda, all the Yehudas are getting involved over here. The Yad Yehuda says it's dependent on kavana. When you eat that little piece of meat, your kavana is, I'm eating meat, Fleishigs. But when it came to this pot of noodles, your kavana was, no kavana that I'm eating meat. Your kavana was, I'm eating noodles. And if your kavana is that I'm eating noodles, barf.
again, that they weren't cooked together, or even if they were cooked together.
Once again, you cooked the noodles with the residue of meat, which weren't batal b'shishim. Zakt the Yad Yehuda, you do not need to wait 6 hours. You had no kavanah to eat meat. The big kash in this is kavanah man dacher shmei. Who cares about kavanah? I care about mitzias. Did you eat meat? Did you not eat meat? Who cares about what you were mechaven?
If you're eating it as individual, because that piece will make you Fleishig.
So this noodles should make you Fleishig because you ate noodles which are seemingly Fleishigi. You should be Fleishigs. Well, who cares about kavana? So perhaps the pshat is like this. Once again, there's not much meat there to get stuck in between your teeth. There's not so much taste there to linger in the back of your throat. But if you're mechaven that you're eating meat, so now there's a chashash, we don't want somebody to think that they could eat meat and then eat milk right afterwards. Oh, you think that you ate meat? Wait 6 hours. But if in your mind, I didn't eat meat, I ate noodles. Oh, you ate noodles? And the tamim don't apply because there's no taste, not going to get stuck. You ate noodles? Okay, you don't have to wait. So the chayr, that is the pshat in the Yad Yehuda, which is quite a chiddush. Okay. So, but I think that's pshat. I couldn't think of any other pshat. Fine. Now, the mice of the poskim seem to rely on the shach. So the shach seems to be lehalacha. Now, let's get to the big shayla, the geshmaka shayla that everybody here has thought about in their life, and everybody's been asked. And let's try to clear this up a little bit. When you have fries at a schnitzel joint, are you Fleishigs? The famous shayla. You went to a schnitzel joint. You went to a Dr. Schnitzel Toast King professor.
Can we put it the other way as well? If you're Fleishigs and you go to
the pizza store. I'm getting to the pizza store first. I think the schnitzel joint is a more hits home more than the pizza store.
Oh, it's in the same deep fryer?
Yeah. Because let's face it, none of them have different deep fryers. If they have different deep fryers, matav v'nayim, great. They don't. Yeah, you're fine if you have different deep fryers. But let's get real. They don't have different deep fryers. And there's a lot going on there. You know what I'm saying? There's schnitzels and the schnitzels with the poppers and the shawarma because the other thing wasn't working that day. And I don't know what's going on in there. But whatever meat or chicken is in that restaurant has at one point been in that deep fryer. You know what I'm saying? Fine. So now those fries, are you Fleishigs from eating those fries? So, I saw a tshuva from a sefer called Yadei Moshe, by somebody named Rav Yaakov Haber. Not positive who it is. But it was a very well written tshuva. I'm going to disagree with a lot of what it has to say, but it was written very well. And I also saw somebody quote Rav Hershel Schachter as saying the same thing. That this is how they explain. The Rav Haber says that you are allowed to eat those fries and then right afterwards have milk. You do not have to wait 6 hours from those fries. Why? Because we pass on like the shach. And with the Yad Yehuda's reasoning. The Yad Yehuda reasons that if you don't have kavanah to imbue the Fleishig taste onto our noodles of last case, therefore it doesn't make the noodles Fleishigs. Over here, the restaurant did not have intention to imbue the French fries with Fleishig taste, and therefore those French fries remain parav. You don't have to wait 6 hours. That is the psak of Rabbi Haber, and that is the psak of Rav Hershel Schachter. Now, saying such a heter requires many assumptions. You have to, first of all, assume that we pass like the shach. That's not such a bad assumption because it seems to be that's what most of the poskim are going with anyways. Okay. Assumption number 2 is you probably have to assume that we're going with the Yad Yehuda's reason that it's totally in Kavanah. Because if you're going to tell me it's about has there been taste transferred, I think it's quite clear that there is taste from the schnitzel that has been transferred to the French fries. I don't think that's so debatable. But if it's about Kavanah, so you have to assume, once again, you have to go with the shach. Number 2, you have to go with the Yad Yehuda. It's about kavanah. Number 3 is you have to assume on a Metzias level that the restaurants do not want the schnitzel flavor to go into the French fries.
So let's say I have a barbecue in my house. I have a deep fryer. Just put the thing in. It's not Fleishig.
Oh, we'll get there. I'm going to get to the barbecue in a second. Yeah. Now, even if there isn't kavanah, the shach only said his din, right? The shach then was a chiddush, right? The shach said it with a little bit of residue. This deep fryer has a whole ganze schnitzel store in the bottom over there. There's a lot going on. It's not a little residue that you can barely see or whatever. There's a gesunte piece, some full pieces of schnitzel that fell into the bottom of that deep fryer. Who knows what's going on in the bottom of that deep fryer? So you have to extend the chiddush of the shach to say not only do we not care about a little residue, but we even don't care about tons of residue, big huge pieces of schnitzel we don't care about. So that is a chiddush to extend the chiddush of the shach that much further. Next, we only saw the shach say this, his din. Once again, with the Yad Yehuda's explanation that you don't have kavanah to have the taste of the meat go into our noodles that we discussed before. That's a case that he emptied it out. He rinsed it out not well. He didn't rinse it out well, which means he emptied it in an inefficient way. So he actually did a maisa to get rid of the meat. Before he put the pasta in, he did a maisa to get rid of the meat. Whereas this heter of Rav Hershel Schachter and Rav Haber, they're mattering the deep fryer, which the guy owning the schnitzel joint never even tried to take the Fleishigs out of the deep fryer. So meaning I'm not saying there's necessarily positive kavanah that he wanted the schnitzel taste going into the French fries, but by the case of the meat and the noodles, he was trying to get rid of the meat. Over here, nobody tried to get rid of the schnitzel. So that's another extension to the din. So therefore, most poskim are not going to agree with the heter of Rav Haber and Rav Shechter, because once again, they're making 5 assumptions, and they're not Pasha. Oh, I forgot, there's a very important assumption. I almost forgot, one of the most important ones that I really think I'm going to disagree with. The whole premise of their heter is based on the Mitzias assumption that the schnitzel joints don't want the taste of schnitzel going into the fries. I'm choishish that your average greasy schnitzel joint wants that geschmack taste of some fried schnitzel going into the fries.
It goes by
Really, you don't think that they don't, you don't
you
think that they don't care? They're just like, okay, we're using the same oil and whatever.
Once again, I think they would be doing it anyways. Meaning, even if they slightly minded, I agree, they wouldn't change their oil every 3 seconds, and they wouldn't necessarily get a new deep fryer because it's complicated and expensive, etc. However, I am choishish that it is a positive. Now, I called my second Sarah Chavrusa, who runs the canteen, to ask him, Lamaisa, do we want the Tom Schnitzel in the fries, or do we not want the Tom Schnitzel in the fries? He wasn't sure. He didn't have a clear answer to it. I'm choishish that the
the person which is eating it, not by the person which is
the chayr is the one who made it.
Why? I don't want the taste of the schnitzel on it. I don't care.
I know, but the chayra, this is what the debate is. The one who did it, the chayra, is he's trying to imbue it. So I don't know. I'm choishish that people do want it, but I can't prove it. So l'maisa, it's a big chiddush because you need 5 assumptions. One of them I think was a reasonable assumption. The other 4 are quite mechudesh. I'm not saying they're impossible, and therefore I think the pashtus is that we're going to have to wait 6 hours on those fries. Okay. Now, next.
The other way around.
Oh, the other way around.
Fleishigs and you go to
Now, if you're Fleishigs, can you go and have the French fries at the pizza shop where they put in the mozzarella sticks? I think we're talking about a case. The pizza shop has to be using it for something milchiks. Because if the pizza shop's not using it for milchiks, then it's perfectly fine. What's the issue? So I guess the pizza shop makes mozzarella sticks, right? Anything else they make milchiks besides mozzarella sticks? Right? So, yeah, deep fried pizza, yeah? Please do not give anybody ideas. We have enough diabetes and I don't know what obesity and I don't know heartburn and the rest in our society. Don't give them the deep fried pizza idea, please. Keep it to yourself. Okay? So, Lamaisa, if they make mozzarella sticks there, could you have it? And the answer is no. They're no. Because once again, no. Once again, what would Rav Shechter say? The Chayr of Shechter would say no also. Because it is milchiksi. And I think everybody agrees this is more than the onion.
Right. These places actually do want the flavor a lot of times because part of their cheesy fries is not just the cheese in it, but also
And if they don't want.
Yeah.
If they don't want.
Yeah. Vegan fries. Fine. Later. Okay, don't give a extra to vegan fries. Later. So the chayra, I don't think Rav Shechter would be matter in such a case. I don't know for sure, but I don't think so.
What's the difference between Fleishig and milk then?
Once again, the milchi is the gazer, you're not allowed to eat anything milchiks. Fleishigs, it's whether that's enough fleishigs to fit into the klum to make you wait 6 hours. So the barrier of entry is less when it comes to milchiks. Okay, weiter. Now, some people by the smorgasbord or by the yeshiva dinner, they use that ladle that was for the cholent or the pepper steak or whatever it was, and they used it for the potatoes or the rice. And now you just want to eat some of the potatoes and the rice. But you know the spoon is, let's face it, the spoon's gone both ways. But you just want to have potatoes or rice. You eat the potato and rice. Do you have to wait 6 hours or are you Fleishigs? So let's divide it into 2 cases. If you see the meat on the potato and the fries and you take a scoop that has meat or on it, or even the gravy of meat on it, you have to wait 6 hours. Because once again, there's no minimum share of what you have to eat. You're eating meat,
But that's not
you have to eat it.
It's not like saying that there's like leftovers on it and you
Once
try to
again,
take
if
it
you-
out. There is some residue, but
If you
want
see the
time.
meat, you ate a little meat.
Okay, you see a
However,
little bit
Let me just say the other side, and then you'll see where this fits in. If you see the meat, or you see the gravy, which is liquid meat, and you eat that, then you have to wait 6 hours. However, if you take a spoon full of rice or potatoes, even though there's good reason to assume there's meat grease on it, but you didn't see the meat grease. But even if you statistically could assume that there's meat grease on it, but you didn't see the grease on it, you do not have to wait 6 hours from that, because then we could apply the shach. There's just happens to be a little leftover grease on there, but there's nothing that you actively saw. Now,
Why is that not like if it was taken from meat and now you see that you really just want the power? So you shake it off. It's not perfectly clean, but you shake it off. You don't really want that. Then you scoop the.
Once again, just tell me which gather it fits in. Do you see the meat or do you not see the meat? If you don't see the meat when you eat it,
you've seen some residue on the spoon, but maybe now that you've taken your whole thing of rice.
No, I don't mind if you saw residue on the spoon.
Oh,
I want to know what's the food that you're eating.
On your plate, you don't see any.
If you don't see it when it's on your plate, you have the shach, and you can rely on the shach.
Oh, okay.
Now, however, where it gets a little complicated.
What happens if you see it, but you took like a huge thing of rice and only you took just the top chelik off?
You're saying there's a physical piece buried inside?
In the bottom of it, but you decided you took your spoon and you took off from the top and you put it back.
L'chayra, if you don't see the meat, l'chayra, you're good.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, what happens if you didn't see the meat, right? And you heard what I just said, great. And you're in the middle of eating and you're like, these potatoes taste a lot like pepper steak. And look, it's just the pepper steak. Did I use the pepper steak ladle? And these taste a lot like pepper steak. So, can you still be mekel? So, l'chayra, in such a case, the Beis Lechem Yehuda wouldn't be mekel. The Yad Yehuda, who says it's about kavana, and you didn't have kavana, he would still be mekel. He would still have the shach. But the Beis Lechem Yehuda that said the whole vart is based on you won't taste it, well, over here you do taste it. So over here it's going to be a little bit harder to be mekel. The ma'isa b'makam sarach you probably could still be mekel, because it seems that there are definitely some that say the ikar psak's like Yad Yehuda, but I wouldn't run to do this. But once again, makam sarach you probably could be mekel. Now, if something parav was cooked in an oven, the same time that meat was cooked in the oven, so you're cooking the rice in the oven and the meat, and you know what? Let's make the meat with lots of liquid, right? There's lots of gravy in the meat. And you're doing it at the same time with the rice. Open. Zeya. Yeah. Do you have to wait 6 hours from eating that rice? Answer, no. If the shach is going to say when there's little pieces of meat in the rice, you don't have to wait 6 hours, then for sure for Zeya you don't have to wait 6 hours. It's a kal v'chomer from the shach, and maybe you will not have to wait 6 hours. Huh? Once again, a treif oven is a whole different shayla of Zeya. That we're not going to get onto for today. But for today, the waiting 6 hours will not happen. What if it happens if you warm the challah on top of the crock pot, on top of the chalt? You warm the challah on top of the chalt, and now now you want to eat the challah for shal shudis, right? You warm the challah up on the crock pot for shal shudis, and now you eat the challah for shal shudis. And now, Matzah Shabbos, you have to have pizza. Pizza time. J2, Dave's Pizza. Matzah Shabbos. Big Apple. Could we have pizza Matzah Shabbos? When Shal Shus, we had the pizza, we had the challah warming up on the crock pot. Yes! What got in the challah already? What got in the challah is the chayr zeya. Once again, if you have a whole messy situation going on there, that's a different story. I'm not talking about where you have a whole messy situation and you have mamashas and meat on your challah, because that's pretty nasty. But if you had a shtickle zeya, you're okay, and you are not Fleishigs. Okay. Can someone Fleishigs eat something which is suffix milchs? A guy, he's within a 6 hour period, could he eat something that's suffix milchs? So, on one hand, what is this? This is the Rabbanan. Suffix the Rabbanan lahakil. And l'chayr, you should be allowed to eat this food that's suffix milchs. However, on the other hand, it's davar sheish le matirin. something that it will eventually become mutter. After the 6-hour period, it's going to become mutter anyways, and you should be matter. Now, do we say davasheshel matirim on Isser Gavra? Generally not. So therefore, that's another story that it should be allowed. L'maisa, it's a whole hak, tzarchin. The Yad Yehuda allows it. The Pri Megadim does not allow it. I think we are l'maisa machmer, and we would not eat, somebody who's Fleishigs would not eat Safek Milchiks. Now, what if 6 hours have passed? Has been 6 hours or not? I'm sure it's happened there. What time did we finish eating? Anybody know? Nobody has any clue. Did we finish 1:30, 2:30? Anybody know? No idea. Yeah, Safek if 6 hours have passed. Can you eat milchiks? So once again, the big makel, Rav Yashiv, and Rav Yitzchak Yosef are makel. And therefore, Rav Yashiv is makel. Rav Chaim Kanievsky is machmer. That you have to, you can't eat. You don't know if 6 hours passed, you can't eat.
For how much longer?
Once again, there's going to be a point that you know it's 6 hours. You know you didn't just eat a minute ago, right? How about half an hour ago? Half an hour ago. There's a point, from whatever point is, you do it. You have to know. Fine. By the way, a svara to be makel is the Rambam uses the lashon you have to wait k'moishe shows. So it doesn't seem to be a rock solid absolute sheishos. So maybe this time, which you're not sure did it pass or not, that could fit into k'moi, like 6 hours. Fine. Now, how long? Right, I agree. That was worth coming just for that, right? I think so. I mean, once again, I helped you with the rice and the potatoes and the yeshiva. That's pretty good too. Fine. Now, how long do you have to wait? L'maisa tachlis. How long do you have to wait? This is another very big, important question. How, in general, you eat Fleishigs. How long do you have to wait? So let's look back at the Gemara, right? So what did the Gemara say? The Gemara says it's also to eat cheese after meat. Doesn't give a time. Doesn't give an amount. Mar Okva says, I'm like vinegar compared to my father. My father waited 24 hours, and I don't eat cheese in this Suda. I'll eat cheese in the next Suda. So, how long is that? So, and by the way, do we have to do like Mar Okva? I would have said, if you would have asked me reading this Gemara, okay, Mar Okva was the grace of Tzaddik. He waited to the next Suda. Me, I'm a regular guy. So I eat meat, I should be able to eat cheese right after. So I think the reason why that's not so pashut is because when the Gemara said you can't have milk after meat, it didn't give a time frame. Why didn't it give a time frame? It's very weird. It should have given a time frame. L'chayra, the reason why the Gemara didn't give a time frame is because it was relying on the story of Mar Okva and expected us to expound from the story of Mar Okva that that's what you're supposed to do. Because if we weren't meant to rely on Mar Okva, then it should have given us the time. So l'chayra, it expected us to rely on Mar Okva. Now, how long was Mar Okva exactly? So we know what his father was. His father was 24 hours. So you want to be stark, 24 hours. The result, Naim Yehuda, they waited 24 hours, like a good stark mensch after meat. For the good to yid, after meat, you're going to wait 24 hours before having milk. If you want to be a Rizal or like Naim Melech, yeah, that's what you do. But what if you don't want to be like, you just want to be a star Marok with the yid? Yeah, what are you supposed to do? So how long did he wait? Zok Taisus, he waited until the meal ended. He didn't eat cheese this meal. And the next meal, he would eat cheese. So after you finish this meal, you clear the table, you bench. Right? You clear your meat meal, you bench. Right away. You want to start a meal 2 minutes later, start a meal 2 minutes later, and eat cheese right away. So how long, Zok Taisus? Until the meal is finished. That's my type of Taisus. Yeah? That's what Taisus holds. Now, the Rambam says you have to wait the time between Sudas. Now, Mar Okva was a Talmud Chacham, as the Gra explains. The Rambam says K'moi Sheishos, like 6 hours. What's Pshat in K'moi Sheishos? So the Gra explains, Mar Okva is a Talmud Chacham. Talmud Chacham eats 12 o'clock in the afternoon breakfast, and 6 p.m. eats his supper. I guess you have breakfast and supper, no lunch. Yeah, so they had 2 meals a day. So they ate 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock. What is that? What is it called again? The fasting. The people call intermittent fasting. So he used to be very big into the intermittent fasting.
That's a push-up shot.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you start at 12, by the time you're done, I don't know, 10, 15, it's 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So how long is left till 6?
Yeah.
That's a Kamei Shei.
Yeah, exactly. Very good. And therefore, you have 6 hours roughly, and that's what Markva did, and that's what you wait. It's until the next Suda. The focus isn't that he's not eating cheese in this sugya. The focus is he didn't have the cheese until next Suda, meaning until the time to have the next Suda. That is how the Rambam learns. Okay. Now, the Mechaber, Shulchan Aruch, Yordea, Peites Aleph, follows the Rambam. More or less. He doesn't exactly follow the Rambam. He more or less follows the Rambam. Because the Shulchan Aruch says you have to wait after meat before having milk. You have to wait sheishais. He does not use the Rambam's k'moy sheishais. He says sheishais. Okay. The Ramah says the Iker Din is like Tosfos. How long do you have to wait? Iker Din, Ramah. You have to finish your meat meal. Bench. Bring in the cheese, baby. That's the Iker Din. However, guys, we're not going to be so makel. There is a minhag. The minhag has spread amongst Europe. Yeah, the minhag has spread, guys. We wait an hour. What?
The end of the meal.
Yeah, we wait an hour. Well, it doesn't clarify, actually. The Ramah, well, we'll see. The Ramah says, no leaving yet. No leaving yet. So, Zak the Ramah, the minhag is spread. Don't worry, you guys cannot be so makel to just eat 2 minutes later. You got to wait an hour. That's the minhag. Okay? And however, after meat to milk, you have to wait an hour. However, yesh midaktikim. There are those that are medaktik, and they wait 6 hours. V'chein nachin lasis. And that is the correct thing to do. That is what the Ramah says. Now, before I get into the 6 hour thing, what's pshat in this 1 hour? Where does 1 hour come from? What does 1 hour have to do anything? So there's 2 pshatim that I saw in what the 1 hour is. The Taz says the pshat in 1 hour is it's a compromise between the Shita of Tosfos of waiting nothing and the Rambam of 6 hours. So, you wait something. You wait an hour. Huh?
So not 3 hours.
Good question. That's how the Taz explains. 1 hour. It's a compromise.
6.
The Gra says it's based on the famous Zoyar that you're not allowed to have basar and cholov b'chat sheisa. In a couple ways of translating that, but at one time in 1 hour. Over here we use a translation of in 1 hour, and therefore, just like by the way, some people wait between meat and milk because of that zohar. They'll wait an hour from eating milchiks to fleishigs because of that zohar. Some people, so some wait a half hour because they understand b'chat shasa to mean one time frame. It depends how you translate that. So some say one time frame, and a time frame is a half an hour. Some say it means b'chat shasa 1 hour, and you wait an hour. So the Gra says based on that, we wait 1 hour from meat to milk. That's the minhag that's spread. Okay. Either way, the Ramah goes on and says the medaktikim wait 6 hours, and that is nochain lasais. That is the right thing to do. The Shach quotes the Marshal, which is very famous, and v'chein, he says, so to the Marshal writes, v'chein raya lasais, this is what's fitting to do. The chol mi sheyesh by reach Torah. For whoever has reach Torah, whatever exactly that means, some form of Torah lifestyle, then it's the fitting thing to do. Royal Asais is to wait 6 hours. I was going back and forth on this lashon earlier, and I couldn't decide. But I'm thinking right now, I'm nated to say, this is not. I think some people oversell this shach. It doesn't say tzarich kol mi sheish l'reich Torah chayev to wait 6 hours, tzarich to wait 6 hours. It doesn't say that anybody who has the reich Torah, you should be meicha if they don't wait 6 hours. It doesn't even say it's nochain It's the correct thing to do to wait 6 hours. It says v'chein royal aslis. It's fitting to wait 6 hours, which still means it's the right thing. But sometimes I heard people like, "What? You don't wait 6 hours?" Especially the Yekis who wait 3, which I'm going to discuss soon. What? You don't wait 6 hours? The Shach says anybody with a reactor has to wait 6 hours. False. You didn't quote it correctly. It's the right thing. It's fitting. Not even the right thing. The right thing would be Nochain. It's fitting. It's a good thing to do. It's fitting. And that seems to be the Shach. I actually think the Lashon of the Taz is a little bit more powerful. The bar of who he's talking about is higher, but the level of requirement is much stronger. He says, for B'nai Torah that don't wait 6 hours, you should be Meicha. You should protest against B'nai Torah not waiting 6 hours. So if there's a B'nai Torah that don't wait 6 hours, protest. That's for sure stronger. B'nai Torah, Lefi the Taz, B'nai Torah have to wait 6 hours. Once again, I think the B'nai Torah is a higher level of entry than Kol Mishi Yesh Reach Torah. I think. Okay. Fine. So that is interesting. L'maisa, it seems to clearly been Minhag Klal Yisrael that it gets universally accepted, except the exceptional people that I'm discuss soon. But it seems to be it's become the minhag has spread, just like the Rama said the minhag has been parish an hour. It seems to be the minhag has been parish 6 hours, even for the non-B'nai Torah, even for the non-Reich Torah type of fellows. But I don't know. It's interesting. It doesn't. I didn't see anybody like hack this so much. What if you? I don't know. I'm really wondering. You know, you have a modern guy.
Yeah,
Can you tell the modern guy wait an hour? From the sugya, the answer is yes. It doesn't seem to be what we do.
I mean, I don't know even start to tell him, but a guy who tells you he's struggling and doesn't like it.
A guy who's having a hard time, for sure. A guy who's, let's say, was off the derech and coming back a little bit. Sure, tell him an hour.
Not 10 minutes.
No,
Wash your mouth. The same thing.
you're saying to rely on Toisus. Maybe that's already going against the old minhag. Maybe I hear. Maybe that old minhag of the hour's bottle.
Because our place game was the Ramah.
Yeah.
Also the Shach and the Tafan, but at least when you need a kula,
Fine. Let's go a little bit further. Where does this? Everybody heard of it, into the 6th hour? I wait 5 hours and 1 minute. Where does that come from?
Keep 6 and 59 minutes.
Right? Where does it come? Where does it come from? This 5 hours and 1 minute. Where does it come from?
Alternate days.
So, some suggest it's based on the Meiri. The Meiri says you should wait ad sheish shois oy chamesh. You wait. Oh my gosh, it's late. It's been going on. Okay, we have to finish this up. I got more. I'm gonna rip through it. Yeah. The Meiri says you wait until 6 hours or 5 hours. What's this? 6 hours or 5 hours? So you can wait 5 hours as well. The problem with this is two problems. First of all, we're not quick to rely on the Meiri. Everybody knows the famous Chazon Ish. The Meiri, they only found the manuscripts in the Geniza of Puma or something like that, a little bit in the late 1800s, and they found the first full Meiri in 1920. So the Zak the Chazon Ish, if it didn't go through the test of time, it wasn't all the Achronim through the years were able to look in it and decide whether they agree or disagree, and it didn't stand the test of time, therefore it has no effect in halacha. However, it's not such an issue because the Meister the Chavetz Chaim did accept it, and Moshe Feinstein did accept it. So okay, the Chazon Ish didn't. I could go on. However, the reason why I think the Meiri, his 5 hours, isn't such a big factor is because the Meister, you look at the Shulchan Aruch, you look at the Ramah, they pass in 6 hours. Well, the Shulchan Aruch passed in 6 hours. The Ramah said the Medach can wait 6 hours. Now you're going to tell me if he had the Meiri, he would have said 5. I think there's no proof to that whatsoever. Why make a tasty that we would have followed the Meiri? The main man for the Mechaber is the Rambam, and the minhag was of the Ashkenazi Medaktikim was following the Rambam and the Rif also, by the way. So it's following them. So make a tasty they would have brought in the Meiri. So the Chayra, it's not a good argument. Tzarech in Gadol, huh? Right, but 5 hours is not Kamoy 6. L'chayra. Okay. It's probably also not Kamoy 6. It's Kamoy 5. Fine. Now, where does 5 hours and 31 minutes come in, if you ever heard that one? Most of the 6th hour. So, L'maiser of Abadi quotes Aaron Cutler that he held to this. Where did he hold to this? So, as Shimon was saying before, that it's right over the 6 hours, it's Kamoy Sheishais. And actually, Rabbi Avad Yosef, he gives a parish to this. He says, listen, back in the day, they didn't have watches. So when it was approximately 6 hours, then I already answered my question. I was going to ask if you're going with Roiv, then it should be 3 hours and a minute. But I saw answer to that question in Rabbi Vadia that once it's 5.5 hours, they didn't have watches. So you have 5.5 hours and 5 hours and 31 minutes. That's like 6 hours. They didn't know any different, and therefore that is good enough. Rav Sternbach says L'maisa you should wait 6 hours, but if you do this 5 hours and 31 minutes, yesh amal lismech. There is what to rely on. Okay, fine. The Yakis wait 3 hours. Where does that come from? So there's very little sources for this. The Mesa that somebody dug up, Risha and Rabbeinu Yerucham, who says you wait 3 hours. Now, since when? I think Dr. Chiz quotes this Rabbi Yerucham. So I think the question is okay. Shkach. There's a Rabbeinu Yerucham. So, since when does that hold big weight in psak? But maybe. So many claim that it's really working with the Taz, meaning that it's like the Taz said it's a compromise between waiting nothing and waiting the Rambam. 3 hours perfectly in the middle, and therefore that's really what it's based on. It's really a compromise. Fine. Apparently, Rabbi Elyashiv told the Yekis who would wait 3 hours, you should switch to 6. When it comes to Rosh Zalman, so I see Rosh Zalman's quoted both ways. I saw Rosh Zalman quoted as saying, listen, you should switch to 6. I also saw Rosh Zalman quoted as, you have a chashuv of minhag, you follow your minhag. So what did Rosh Zalman say? Tzarchin. Okay, the Aruch HaShulchan says that if somebody's a chayla, it can be makel to keep 1 hour, like the Iker Din. So it doesn't seem like you have to be in your deathbed for this. You're sick, you're not feeling well, for whatever reason, you want to have a coffee, I don't know what, have the coffee if you're a chayla. I don't know what chayla shem by sakana maybe is together.
Yeah,
I'm not sure exactly.
Some sort of
Yeah. Now the Chassam Sefer thought to say that if you wait, if you go to sleep, then you have to wait.
You want the Entenmann's donuts. I happen to be a chayla, so I can. No, I'm just clarifying.
Yeah.
I need the coffee because I need a bit.
Once again, if you're a chayla and you need the energy of the Entenmann's donuts,
fine.
Whatever. But yeah, not just them.
Right.
Yeah. Now, not saying you could have Entenmann's donuts. Don't take me out of that. Yeah. Fine. Now, the Chassam Sefer thought to say that if you go to sleep, you don't have to wait the full 6 hours. I don't know exactly why that speeds up the system. Now, but the famous story is, there's different versions of this, depending on how Hasidish and how Litvish you are. You say the story. If you're Litvish, you say that the coffee spilled, and since he was going to have his coffee after sleeping for 4 hours, and then his coffee spilled, and he said, I'm not gonna pask, even though he held it in halacha, but he's not going to hold it in l'maisa because it was a simon min hashemayim that it wasn't true. Now, if you're very chassidish and you say the story over, he had his cup of coffee, and the coffee mug slipped out of his hand and cracked on the floor. And then he did it again, slipped again. And then he did it a third time, and the third time the coffee cup cracked again on the floor. And then he took it as a simon min hashemayim that he's not meant to rely on that psak, and therefore he didn't go with it l'maisa, whichever way version of the story you like the best. I have a kash on the story, you have to take the psak as is. Tzarchin, l'maisa, Rav Elyashiv apparently did. Rav Elyashiv actually apparently relied on this l'maisa, and he would have his morning coffee. Morning, by the way, for Rav Elyashiv started at 2 a.m. So after his 3 hour sleep, and that was fine, didn't bother him. He actually relied on this. Now, I just want to finish this. Rav Elyashiv apparently slept 3 hours a night. Now, when does the clock start? I just want to finish with this. The Dag B'Ravava says it's from when you finish eating. The Aruch HaShulchan says it's from when you bench. The Meis of the Pesachim follow the Dag B'Ravava, that's when you finish eating. Now, let me just, one last shayla to finish with. What if you are Fleishigs?
Even for those who wait 1 hour that have that minute.
Yeah.
They wait like that for sure.
Correct. Oh, yes. Now, if you're Fleishigs and you made a bracha on your coffee, and you, after making the bracha before taking a sip, you realize that you're Fleishigs. Well, if you're Ashkenazi and you waited at least an hour, then you don't do a bracha vatala, you take a sip and you don't drink anymore. But if it's within the hour, or you're Sephardi and it's within the 6 hours, what could you do? There's the Gezerah D'Rabbanan, and therefore you won't take your cup of coffee. Thank you for listening. Sorry this was a long one.